Hey guys, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. Really excited. I have Justin Franson on today's show. We're going to be talking about 5G, EMF, natural ways to help eliminate that, reduce it, neutralize it, and also talk about improving athleticism as well. Justin, welcome to today's show. How you doing, man?
Hey, great. Thanks, Dr. J, for having me on.
Yeah, awesome. And you got a new book that's out called Athleticism, Whole Body, Whole
Y-
Brain Performance. Can you just kind of what inspired you to write this book and what are some of the key take home points you wanted to highlight out of the gates?
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty stoked on this book. I must say, this is my life's journey, just all in between those two hardback covers. So
I love
I
it.
I started working with athletes about 25 years ago. Started
Mhm.
athleticism.com at a Scripps clinic in La Jolla, and work with amateur and professional athletes, develop sensory motor nerve work for sports performance. We do whole body, whole brain training, ambidexterity, and I treat concussions, do a bunch of stuff.
Okay, that's very cool. So let's talk about the ambidexterity training. What does that look like? What are some of the exercise? What are some of the therapies you run your athletes through to improve that?
But we're one of the only sports performance programs that actually has an ambidexterity program. And
That's
that's
crazy.
the crux of it, I think, is to really get these bodies being a whole body and whole brain performer. So we do everything from juggling to washers to bricks to cup stacking, uh, a lot of martial arts stuff as well, stick training, just coordination with the hands and integrating with foot movements. Those are some of the ambidexterity stuff. Just with the hands that people would think of. We also do the same things with rhythms with the feet, and then everything's nonlinear, semicircles, figure eights, connecting to the infinite flow of the universe.
So is someone coming to you and saying, "Hey, I want to be a better athlete. These are some of the skill sets I need in my sport," and then you kind of come in and recommend various kind of modalities within your clinic? Is that how it works?
Yeah, definitely. And then, or I get bridge training post PT guys are kind of fed up with PT,
Yeah.
and or their sessions have expired and they don't know what to do. They're kind of left high and dry. So we bridge that gap all the way to high level performance, and then do a lot of treatments as well for injury recovery, like stretching therapy and brain entrainment, light, sound, frequency, vibration. Those are all my go-tos.
That's cool. And so when you have people that come in from PT, what do you see some of the big shortcomings of PT that maybe prevent some of the people that see you, like why they're not healing all the way? Is there certain modalities or shortcomings philosophically or modality wise that are missing in that you kind of bring to light, if you will?
Definitely. I really feel PTs are some of the most gifted facilitators out there, but they, unfortunately, a lot of them are held within the restrictions of billing. And so they're just going to ice. They're just going to do 5 minutes of fascial work. They're not able to use their gifts to the extent that they use them. So I think that's one of the downfalls of the PT system is they're really locked into the insurance-based method and protocols. Most of them are PT, or excuse me, post-op physical therapists. So your sessions expires, you a certain point, then you're done. I mean, then where do you go? And I had that same experience. I tore an ACL playing basketball. I was dunking on a guy, and when I landed, he bent his knee in the side of my knee, tore the ACL, and went through PT out of Scripps Clinic in La Jolla, where I was officed out of. So the orthos brought us in there and to work with a PT and them so they could have the system. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this PT, even though I got it free from a handful of other PTs. Well, he starts billing me. It was like $750 to ice my knee for the first visit. And
That's
then,
crazy.
and then 3 weeks, 4 weeks in, I think 4 weeks in, I had expired all of and I had like the best insurance you could have, and I was done in like a month. And then he had billed the just crap out of me. And so I'm going, this is just a flawed system. And it ended up being my niche where I could take over that bridge that gap to where they really missed out on.
Okay, got it. And so when you see people that come in with concussions, what's your first step to addressing that outside of the conventional model, right? The conventional model a lot of times is like sunglasses, go sit in the dark corner, maybe don't fall asleep for a little bit, right? Is there anything else you're doing that's kind of specifically improve healing? Anything nutritionally, anything neurological, exercise wise to kind of help facilitate that healing?
Well, the first thing I do is say go to a chiropractor.
Hmm.
That's the first thing I do. So go to a chiro, get everything adjusted.
Yep.
Make sure everything's structurally in place. I mean, that's number one. Uh,
Yeah.
when they come to see me, what I do is I do nerve work on the sensory nerve. So I level their horizon and
Yep.
get them connected to their center line, which is
Yep.
basically their longitude, latitude lines. Once they know where they are in space, everything will start to heal. But
And so how does that work? Is that upper cervical type of stuff? How do you do that?
no, through light therapy and muscle
Light.
testing,
Okay.
light kinesiology.
Okay. And so what's the input? You're adding light or anything else to help that?
Light and I use essential oils and I use muscle testing and energy work to do it.
That's cool. Excellent. And so someone comes in, they have these concussion issues, right? You're using these different modalities, and you're seeing that help and accelerate healing. Are you doing anything with red light? Are you doing anything with nutrition at all?
Well, yeah, I mean, red light is what we use. So I actually use a GRT light most of the time,
Hmm.
and it's red, LED, and infrared, and it has different pulsing mechanisms. And then I'm actually using essential oils as well. And nutrition's huge because your stomach's your second brain. So
Right.
I just
Correct.
had a client actually 2 days ago. Crazy you bring this up, but he put a breath mint. He's a 14-year-old kid, got a concussion, and I'd seen him 3 times prior, and I'm working on his nerves, on his REM patterns, and he held in the beginning going right to left on his eye movements without moving his head, just moving his eyes. He put a mint in his mouth, and I go to retest his eyes, and he goes weak. And guess what? These mints are full of they're artificial.
Aspartame.
Yeah, artificial
Right. Yeah.
everything. It
Yep.
blew out his nervous system.
Yeah. That makes sense. Nutrition plays a major role, whether it's additional toxicity coming in through junky sugars or artificial sweeteners or potential food allergens or junky fats, right? All those things matter. And what kind of diet changes do you make? I mean, most people that I see that come to me and they've seen PTs in the past, most very rarely even look at nutrition or anything in that realm or give extra nutrients to help build back connective tissue or joints or bones. It's kind of ignored 100%. You see it also ignored in conventional medicine too. What kind of changes do you make out of the gates in those areas?
Well, the big thing is looking at all the different stressors of the body, and you got to look at what downregulates the nervous system. And
Yep.
so biochemically, food, drink, air, EMF. So food
Hmm.
is just basically eat real stuff, like eat a real balanced intake. That's real food. That's not modified. That's not riddled in pesticide, herbicides.
Yep.
That's growing in the ground. That doesn't
Yep.
come out of a bag and from an industrialized manufacturing plant. So some of the basic stuff on that, I love structuring the water, just get hydration down,
Yep.
have them start to own their power a little bit more, and then sleep is the other biggest thing, which our grounding bags help with.
Yeah.
So kind of normalizing a full spectrum of these athletes, and that's where we're really diving into.
Any specific diet recommendations? Are you making sure protein's adequate? Or is there a certain amount of protein you want people to eat in relation to their weight? Half a gram per pound, 1 gram per pound of body weight? What does that look like for protein?
I haven't really gone too granular with them on that. I just say
Yeah.
balance it out. What I do look at is we have an MCT oil called lean oil. So it's from palm kernels. So it's medium chain triglycerides. So they're burn fat as fuel. But you gotta kick in the ileocecal valve, get some protein in the body.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning. I mean, these are some musts that I like to do, and that's kind of where I go at it. I'm not big on digitally quantifying like the specific ratios, and it just feed your body what you feel is right for you, and 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 chew your food really well and dine, but enough fuel in your system to so you're not burning adrenaline, you're burning fuel.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I find protein's really important because if you're athletic and you're using your muscles, you're creating this breakdown, your body's trying to heal that back up. So protein's going to be really important. Also, protein is going to be very blood sugar stabilizing, very satiating. It's going to prevent you from overeating. Obviously, good fats are super important because every cell in our body has a good, healthy cell membrane, and we need good, healthy fats, whether it's coconut oil or good, healthy grass-fed, pasture-fed animal products. We want to really be avoiding a lot of the junky, more inflammatory processed fats, omega-6, trans fats. So I think that's, important to have those components dialed in for sure. That makes a lot of sense. What's next? So you see patients, they come into you, what's the next step the average person's missing to make themselves more athletic? Like if you could do one thing with the average person, what would it be outside of some of the things we're already talking about now?
Well, the first thing I recommend to them is to start balancing more. So when you're probably the number one thing I address in the book, if you don't have balance, you can't do anything. So that's the biggest thing. I think right behind that would be flexibility, to have some range of motion. And once they can establish a functional range of motion, then you go into the stability components, and then we start to develop that foundation that we build on for speed, power, coordination, and it just then the sky's the limit. Then it's unilateral versus jumping off of both feet, and you just take the athlete to a new dimension.
Yeah, that's cool. I always like unilateral work because I find that you can really show weaknesses. People, a single leg deadlift or a unilateral kind of opposite arm pull. I feel like when you do things that are unilateral, it really exposes a lot of weaknesses or imbalances in the body. So that's really good. Plus, you don't need a lot of weight. You don't need a lot of load when you're only using half of that foundational stable unit. So that's cool.
Yeah,
What's one thing?
And,
Yeah,
and
go
then
ahead.
the other thing, real quick, is I've been doing a lot of B3 bands, which is blood flow restriction.
Oh
And
yeah,
I found that's really helpful for me because I'll have limited time for a workout. I'll throw on the band. It boosts my nitric oxide buildup, endothelial growth
yeah.
factors. So I get more growth factors when I'm in my 50s. So I could use all that I could get right now naturally. And that's been a fantastic way. And my strengths improve, my speeds improve. So for a quick workout, those B3 bands have been awesome for me.
That's cool. And the goal of those bands is it's like a rubber band, almost like what they do if they were to take your blood. They wrap it around there, and that's restricting blood flow. And then as a result, it's increasing growth hormone, increasing NO2 essentially.
Yeah, the nitric oxide is
Nitric
huge
oxide.
for it. And what happens is you develop these buffers and you just develop more growth factors from it. But the B3 bands have airways in that restriction. So you're not starving the muscle of oxygen, you're just constricting it. So my whole thing is like resistance and the subtle resistance. Our vascular system doesn't have it until you put a band on it. Are the two activities that restrict or provide resistance for your respiratory system are swimming, because you're exhaling into the water, or playing a horn instrument as a musician.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes
Other
sense.
than
Yeah.
that, we don't develop that respiratory system with resistance. So there's ways to look at fast resistance, respiratory system resistance versus just traditional strength training resistance. And so we're looking at all these components.
Very cool. Excellent. And so you also are very passionate about EMF, and you sent me a couple of goodies, which I appreciate. You sent me some EMF kind of neutralizing crystals, a Faraday bag, a couple things. I know you have a website, EMF Rocks. Let's talk a little bit more about EMF and just kind of some of the negative impacts out of the gate that you see, for instance, with your athletes that you work with.
Oh, yeah, Dr. J. I mean, I saw an endurance athlete come through and his whole entire arm went weak from wearing a smartwatch on his wrist. And so I'm like,
Oh, wow.
Get that radiation off your wrist. His whole arm just got better. It got stronger again without me.
What kind of radiation was it? Was it hooked up to Wi-Fi, or was it just like a simple, what kind of signal was it? Was it Bluetooth?
Yeah. So it was the Bluetooth. They're about 2.45 billion waves per second of a one directional waveform. So let's break down the difference of why that's so challenging for our body. We're built on scalar waves that distribute equally in every direction. Man-made stuff, whether it's electricity, dirty electricity, or wireless, they're all basically one directional waveforms, or they don't work. So when you put something on your wrist, like Wi-Fi, at 2.45 billion waves per second, when our body optimizes at 1 to 8 when we sleep, and heal in 8 to 12 when we're in the alpha state, when we're in the flow state, when we're competing, we're really close to the Schumann resonance of the Earth, which is 7.83 hertz. So when we add in 10-0 at speed, and it's a one direction polarizing waveform, that's localized radiation. When someone's weak or toxic or just has a sensitivity to it for some way, shape, or form, either too young, too old, their blood type is an Rh negative, those people will be more sensitive to EMF.
And so what kind of EMF are we talking about? Like, are we talking like the Apple Watch, or would my small little Fitbit that's charting my steps be enough to throw me off?
Oh yeah, that muscle test week with that Fitbit. Fitbit came out of the gate, they were having challenges, and they had to lower the signals. Kind of where Josh Del Sol made a documentary movie called Take Back Power on the smart meters. They were ramping up these smart meter signals. They had to notch it down because everyone was getting sick and couldn't sleep. Same with Fitbit. It's still now enough where you'll test weak with it. So I would never, I mean, again, this is my whole deal. Dr. J, is we got to get back to listening to your body and how your body feels, not having something tell you how it feels. This meta universe is not okay. It's not the direction that we want to go into.
So is there any technology you recommend if someone wants to kind of track their steps or make sure they're doing enough activity during the day? What's the best way to do that? Or is there a certain way, the setting that you could adjust that so it has a lower drain on you?
Yeah, I haven't really dove into the lesser of the evils. What I would say is, when we test athletes, we establish baseline, maybe a midpoint and an endpoint in the test. We're not doing it day to day. So know your step the day, track them, and then use that as your baseline to say, hey, yeah, I feel like I did a few less than I did, or I did way more today. And you'll know it. Your body will just feel it. You don't need something to tell you how you slept or what you did. You have to look into yourself to start to feel again.
That makes sense. And so what's some of these wireless signals? What's the mechanism? What's actually happening? How is it disrupting us? You kind of went into it a little bit more. I want to make sure I understand, like, how's that actually happening at a biochemical level there?
Okay, so when we introduce a one directional waveform, what happens is there's a vibration effect in our body. It's a secondary effect. Dr. Martin Pall talks about the voltage-gated calcium channels opening up, letting positive calcium into a negative cell, in turn causing tremendous cell and DNA damage. Once that vibration secondary effect happens, what I've seen clinically is people's eyes, their teeth, their thymus, and then their large intestine are the four primary areas that get decharged with EMF. We can use our grounding bags to tap on them and recharge those areas. I'll go into that in a little bit. Yeah. But then the next level is what we see are cognitive. So focus, memory, behavior, anxiety, fatigue, stress, lack of sleep. They're going to be first signs of EMF toxicity and challenges that people will feel, especially athletes. They're going to make poor decisions when they're competing. So this is a huge thing. So the other thing is you're going to see more non-trauma concussion symptoms. So you're going to see basically headaches, more severe headaches. So excuse me, migraines in the ears, muscle twitching, bloody noses. I mean, these are all the different things that you're going to see. It's going to be nausea, fatigue, tremors, bloody noses. And you go, the Havana cohort talked about this, the first attack of U.S. embassy workers on foreign soil with microwaves. That's a real deal. These guys were sick for months and in the hospital, and they couldn't get better because they were so toxic. Then you go into the bigs, cancer, suicide, diabetes, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular, and then now lack of fertility. And yes, so I see a note here. Yes, it's an oxidative stress. Yes, 2.45 waves per second destructures water. Yes, 60 gigahertz, which is a 5G level, changes what oxygen molecules are made out of as well.
And so we have different kinds of Wi-Fi, right? You could have or EMF, put it in that camp. We have EMF maybe on our wrist from our smartwatch. We can have our Wi-Fi signals in our house, right? And then we're going to have cell phone towers, especially the 5G. Are those kind of the big ones, or is there anything else missing?
Yeah, so we categorize it into three different types. You have milligauss, magnetic resonance would be one, where you get a milligauss meter. That's in the 50 to 60 waves per second spectrum. Then we do dirty electricity, which is the static in the line. It measures amps to volts. That would be 4,000 to 100,000 waves per second approximately. And then you have the acoustometers, the radio frequency meters that measure the wireless signals from 50 million to several billion waves per second. So there's meters to actually quantify it, and those stressors and those levels of each of those signals. So wireless would be any wireless signal, Alexas, Nest units, computers that aren't hardwired, your routers, smarts, the self-driving mechanisms in cars, all that stuff. It's all wireless. The dirty electricity would be static in the lines from bad wiring, grids crossing outside your home, rats eating lines, so signals going in and out of a junction don't meet. That would cause static. Transformers on LED lights inside these new homes. That'll cause lots of dirty electricity. And then the milligauss is all the electricity in your home.
So what do you actually do about it, right? Because these stressors are all around us. You're not going to get rid of Wi-Fi. You won't even get rid of cell phone towers. Obviously, you can do your best to be far away from them, or for, at least not to have one right on top of your kid's school or right nearby. You do your best to kind of mitigate exposure, especially when you're sleeping. You can control some of the Wi-Fi in your house, hardline, or turn it off when you sleep. What are the actual practical things outside of like don't do it or don't use it?
Practical I want to dive into something else too.
Sure, let's go ahead. Let's hit that first thing and then we'll come back to it.
Okay, yeah. So there's a book I want everyone to read. It's called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Firstenberg. Have you heard of that one?
I have. I heard of that author before.
Yeah, he's one of the biggest names in EMF. And if you guys haven't read it, I highly recommend it. He categorizes the history of electricity in life and correlates every major pandemic to spikes in the increased electrification of our atmosphere. So let's do a little physics and biology lesson here. Our atmosphere is made of ether and plasma. Okay, these waveforms travel through this plasma. Waves and particles travel through plasma. That is our air. We're connected. We are one with the universe. All right. This is how we are made off of scalar waves. So everything has a resonance, carries a frequency. And all the man-made stuff is all one directional or one word. So if you're standing outside and you're in the sunlight, you're not in the sunlight in one spot and then out of it in another spot. It distributes equally in every direction. Our biofield of our body resonates. It doesn't just go out like straight out of your right ear. It's a resonance all around you. The Schumann resonance of the earth. You're not in the resonance in one spot and then out of it in another. It's that pulse there. Right. So that's what these scalar waves are based on. And so this book, The Invisible Rainbow, anything before 1918, well, actually, let me back up. Anything before 1889 were solar flares, were cosmic shifts. That's where people had got sick. So they called the flu because it would fly in when there was a solar flare, a cosmic shift. People's bodies would adapt, and then they get better, and then we move on. Some wouldn't, because their body just adapted when they needed to at the level they were capable. That's what we saw before 1889 when we introduced electricity in the homes. So we got homes with electricity, we got shoes on, so we're not grounding. And 1918 we introduced radio waves. That was the first, the Hong Kong, or excuse me, that was 1980 Spanish flu. And then satellites in the Van Allen belt were the Hong Kong flu, World War II radar, and then 5G the last 2 years. So basically, what these doctors are saying, like Tom Cowan, Andrew Kaufman, Zach Bush, Kelly Brogan, I mean, all these, and they're MDs, not that MDs all their end all say all. I'm more of a chiro guy myself, but
Right.
these doctors that have been medically trained are out there saying that electricity stressors is an environmental toxin and a biotoxin. And what we're doing is we're adapting to these toxins. And that's what's happening right now.
Okay. How do you distinguish correlation versus causation? Because at the same time, the last 100 years, we're doing a lot of other stressors being introduced, whether it's toxicity in our food, nutritional deficiencies, excess antibiotic usage. There's a lot of other things. So how do you make the correlation of these things happening? But is it really the root cause, or is it just another stressor that our bodies are having to deal with among many others?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, no one can argue that all these combination of stressors don't add up to be a stressor.
Right.
But I think when there's a breaking point, like, look, we can call and talk to someone across the globe instantly. I mean, right? So there's no scratch in your head that you can broadcast something instantly. There's no scratch in your head that if there's a shift in the atmosphere, that's going to mess up our REM patterns. So there's too much there for me to go into that EMF is not the number one stressor right now on the planet. Zach Bush will say it's glyphosate for the last 40 years of research.
Yep.
I'll go back and say, hey, look at the Invisible Rainbow. The bibliography is 150 pages. It's the most referenced book you ever read. And this is 1889 when it starts. So there's no scratch in your head for me. I live in Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, California. Healthiest place on the planet. No one gets sick in June. So this year, everyone was getting sick. Not everyone, but a lot of people were getting sick in June. It's when they ratchet up and turn stuff up, people's bodies will shift. There's times where there's going to be higher levels of certain stressors that are going to be that and that's what I feel is these triggers for a lot of these major pandemics. And Tom Cowan, former MD, he turned in his license, but he'll say when you pollute the ocean, the dolphins will get sick. It's not that dolphin gave that dolphin a virus, or hey, let's look at their genes, and in 2020 they'll all get sick. No, that would be stupid. So we're looking at things like it's all environmental toxins that are the challenge here. And I feel the top two are EMF, obviously the 5G, and then glyphosate.
Totally makes sense. Nope. I think that's a big one for sure. And so what can we do about it with the EMF, right? I mean, there's different devices that you can plug into your outlets to kind of help clean up some of the dirty electricity. You shot me over different things that we can do, like a Faraday bag, and you can put your phone in that or turn your phone off, or definitely don't sleep near it. Definitely don't keep it right on your person, especially in your pockets next to your genitals or sensitive tissue. You mentioned crystals and different things like that, or grounding mats. Let's kind of go over the top 3 to 5 things that the everyday person could do that's pretty easy and simple.
Yeah. Well, first I'll distinguish the difference in products out there. So if someone's looking for a product to clear, basically what we want to look at is it GMO product or is it an organic product? Because we all want organic. We all don't want something that's been modified. So for me, I look to the healing pulse to kick off a resonance to create a coherence with us. So we hand mine crystals. The crystals have moisture and magnetic properties in it. That's what our grounding bags look like. The other man-made devices are devices that are looking to overpower another device. Like, that's a futile effort. So that's a genetically modified signal that's non-native, that's looking to replicate what nature already does. So my first thing is awareness and understanding of the different products that are out there. Because if you're going to look to a product to solve this, you got to look to nature to do it. Because no one is more intelligent and has those medicinal qualities like Mother Nature. So the first thing would be is our grounding bags in your home. When you're not having grounding bags in your home, you're outside and you're getting grounded outside. So you're getting barefoot, you're touching a tree, you're getting in bodies of water, you're doing your grounding protocols outside. Now, as far as
And the goal of grounding is what? Like the goal, are you dispersing some kind of positive ion charge in the body? Is that what you're doing?
yeah, so one of my favorite books is called Electric Body, Electric Health by Eileen
Hmm.
McCusick. And she talks about your body being a body battery. You get a negative ionic charge from Earth, and we pull those electrons from it. You get a positive charge from the unpolarized light of the sun coming from above. And then we breathe in the minerals, and hopefully we get it from our food. But this is how our body battery recharges. And so we're getting grounded by nature, being outside. So the sunlight will do it, getting in those resonances. The negative charge will do it. So bodies of water, touching trees, barefoot, laying down on a picnic, gardening, climbing rocks, all that good stuff. Like that's going to get you that grounding, that negative charge. So that's how our body battery works.
That's good. So you're really helping to disperse a lot of those positive ion charges, which you're going to accumulate when you're around a lot of these wireless frequencies. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. So
and how do the crystals work? How do the crystals work? And do you have to keep them in the bag so they don't get dehydrated? Or can you take them out?
Yes, exactly. They have to stay in the bag and they're sealed, and you use it as is. So you keep it sealed. They come like this, and there's about 1 pound of crystals in here. They work the same nature does, as they kick off a resonance to convert the one directional waveforms, and then they feed us the electrons. So that's the way Mother Nature works. That's why it feels so good to go to the beach and get grounded and go on vacation.
Makes sense.
You're recharging your body battery. Literally, scientifically, that's the physics and the biology that's occurring. So as far as using these protocols, what you can do is you can accelerate this product going to your body. You can hold it, tap on it, cover your eyes, cover your teeth, cover your thymus, cover your large intestine one at a time, and that'll accelerate the medicinal properties to recharge you. Because when people have layers of toxicity stuck in their energy field and biofield, they're going to be more sensitive to EMF. If they have toxicity internally, they're going to be more sensitive to EMF. So an internal flush would be bentonite clay, protease, a digestive enzyme, and then apple cider vinegar. That will be a very subtle detox for internal stuck EMF. External, you got to do your grounding protocols outside, and you got to do the tapping with the grounding bag inside.
Okay, that's cool. And with the crystals, is there a certain type of crystal people can go look for to find? I mean, obviously, we'll put your site below as a good resource, but is there any specific kind of crystal that you find works better?
Well, yeah, the average person won't be able to find it, unfortunately. Amethyst, shungite, black tourmaline, they all are known to have Tesla properties or magnetic resonance.
Okay, cool.
But what happens is they're getting overrun too quickly with all the excess EMF in our world. So we had to deploy a 1 pound bag of crystals of hand mine that have moisture with the magnetic. So the combination of the moisture with the magnetic properties is what allows them to be exponentially stronger for repelling EMF. So the average person's never going to find these colloid crystals anywhere. They're hand mined. They're over 85% pure. You're not going to find the purity and be able to bring that rest to your home like we have with these.
That's cool. And so the average person can do what with the crystal? Just put it on a nightstand when they sleep to help kind of provide a filtration of a lot of the EMF frequency. Can they just get a small one, put it on their person? How do you use it?
Yeah. So Dr. J, when you put it on your bed, at the head of the bed, and if it's not on it, if it's under it, lean it against the leg of the bed at the head of the bed, they'll sleep 3 to 50% better. That's
cool. It's good to test it. I mean, the whole idea of crystals always seems a little out there for me, but I get it. Like we can't see Wi-Fi. We can't see all these things around us. And we know everything does have a frequency to it. So the more you can kind of harmonize that or neutralize the negative impact of these frequencies, it makes sense. We know there's a stress component, especially 5G. And so crystals are one big tool. What else? Anything else we can do that's simple? You mentioned the internal stuff. You mentioned enzymes, apple cider vinegar. You mentioned some clays or binders. What else?
I mean, those are some great things to do. People like carbon C60 for it. I like doing methylation. I like opening up methylation pathways. So any methylfolate is great. You got to do magnesium. I like some calcium as well. Magnesium and is probably one of the biggest things that everyone really needs, like on a day-to-day basis. But for EMF protection, just keep hydrating yourself. Get some good distilled water. Add some minerals in it. That'll be the most mineral-dense water we can do.
Makes sense.
And then if you structure it, that would be even better. And so those are kind of the things that we're looking at.
Very good, Justin. Well, we hit a bunch of good things today. We'll put the links down there below as good references for your site where they can get more information. Any other coordinates or information you want to leave to the listeners here?
No, thanks so much, Dr. J, for having me on. You guys, I just really want to encourage you to understand physics and biology and what health really is. And
good.
Health is really connecting above and getting grounded to nature and smiling and living and touching and hugging each other and being together. And that's the essence of living for life, having fun and smile. Smile is the most contagious thing on the planet. So there's bioenergetic resonances that naturally occur in nature that are stronger than anything. And I want people to stop living in fear and understand what true health is, and that our viruses are just our adaptive system at work. We're dead protein that we produce. So there's no fear. There's nothing flying around to kill anyone. We just smile and live for life. And you guys, the most important thing you can do right now for your health is to do all those and make sure you're getting out in nature and getting grounded by nature. And then when you're inside, use our grounding bags, and then also establish protocol. Turn your Wi-Fi off, turn your electrical off in your bedrooms, create your home into a really quiet resonance so it's more closer to the Schumann resonance, not these one-directional billions of waves per second when you're trying to sleep and heal.
Very good, Justin. I appreciate it. What are your sites again? We have emfrocks.com.
emfrocks.com. Sold through doctor clinics all around the country. And then athleticism.com is where we have our curated health and performance products, and that's spelled athletic SM for those of you who have trouble spelling athleticism.
Okay, perfect. I will put links down below. People can access. Oh, by the way, Faraday bags. How do you use those, by the way? And do you always keep your phone in a Faraday bag? Is it only when at night when you're kind of putting your phone away?
Yeah, so we have two sizes of Faraday bags. Thanks for asking, Dr. J.
How does it work, by the way? How does it even work? Like, what is it exactly?
Yeah, so people think of Faraday, they think of a Faraday cage where no frequencies go in and out of. Our static bags are 7 millimeters, so frequencies go in and out of them. So that's the difference. But there's a physics component that when you put a polarizing positive charge inside of it, the Faraday bags squash it to what bioinitiative.org would consider safe levels, and muscle testing applied kinesiology, what our body would feel safe levels that we can handle. Now, what also happens is, so it dampens the signal strength of your cell phone to safe levels. Your phone may or may not ring inside there, but what it also does is it stops the data harvesting. So it slows down the aggregation of all the information they're pulling from you. That's the drain on your battery. That's why everyone's battery dies so quickly, is because they're listening to everything. They're aggregating every bit of your information every second of the day. They know all your biometrics now if you're giving it to them, your retina scan, your voice, your face, your palm imprint. I mean, these are some of the most individual imprints of your body. You don't want to use those for commerce. So avoid using fingers, palm print, voice, retina, face imprints to get access to your phone. You don't want that information. You don't want to use it for commerce because they know your passcodes. They know where you live, how fast you drive, all this information. They're just aggregating, sending it to AI to create this meta universe. So as much as I love technology, it's allowing us to connect where we probably wouldn't have, because we're in Texas and I'm in California, but this stuff is cool. We just have to develop proximity protocols with it and understand that it's enhancing at certain times. And then when you're not using it, get it away from you. Throw it back. If you have to sleep with your phone on at night, make sure it rings inside the bag, test it, put it in there, seal it, you'll have the best night's sleep. Your phone will still ring, and you won't have the thing tapping on your shoulder all night long saying, talk to me, because it's essentially that's what it does. It's always looking for a signal.
Is your phone safe if you put it on airplane mode and it's on you? Is it safer? Is it still less signal?
Way better, because there's not that wireless looking for that signal. So definitely get it on airplane mode. The next specs would be to save your battery, because they're still going to aggregate through airplane mode. They're always having these signals on. These telecommunication companies, they want all your information. They're beaconing stuff, so they're always doing. It's called surveillance marketing. It's why Apple is a multi-billion-dollar company. It's not off of selling devices. Yeah, they sell a lot of devices, but it's this marketing that they're doing and listening. They're selling your information. That's where they're really making the substantial revenue from. So slow down this aggregation of information, especially on your biometrics, and we'll be able to stop this meta universe and really get back to connecting with God and getting grounded by nature.
Yeah, with a lot of these tech companies, you are the product. It's good to keep your privacy and keep it yours, have control over that. So I like having tools that put kind of these controls back in your hands. So Justin Franson, really appreciate today's podcast. And we'll put links down below for some of the good product that we talked about here today. And I'll put links to the books that we chatted about in the show notes as well. You guys have a phenomenal day. Justin, great chatting with you.
Hey, thank you, Dr. J, man. Appreciate you.